bike awareness to other drivers, riders. We have so many more riders, and every community needs this, and LA is such a big place, right? And if we had more lanes, I mean, I have friends personally that I've asked them, would you commute to work? And their question is always like, what lane do I take, right? Is it safe? Is it buffered? Is it not buffered? Those kind of questions. And you know, I used to live in Holland for about 6 months in my 20s, and it's such an amazing thing when you see a community, like, you know, you see a mother with like 3 kids on the bike taking 2 to school and then going to pick up groceries with the other one, or a guy in a $5,000 business suit biking to work. He has 2 cars in the garage, but he chooses to take his bike, you know, and that's what I envision for LA, and the bike that LA is doing, which is amazing. So bravo to you guys. Of course, we have Steele Mueller from AIDS Lifecycle, and you know, what an amazing organization. It sort of like popped into my lap. I forgot who it was that initially introduced me, but riding for a cause is so important, right? All of us ride for some reason or another, right? Some of us ride because we want to get fitness, some of us ride because we have to, some of us ride because we try to make a living for ourselves, right? I have so many people who ride for delivery purposes, and these are people who drop their jobs, riding. And then ALC is doing such an amazing job of not just riding for a cause, but also riding to bring the community together, right? The LGBT community is coming together, and outside that as well. You know, it brings so many people together for such an amazing purpose. And when you meet the people who ride, like you know, I've ridden with other organizations before, and there's always kind of like some people that have that elitist vibe. I get none of that with ALC. I just get awesome people who are really enjoying the beauty of the ride for a purpose, and you get these amazing stories, and it changes people's lives. You know, so I probably hear at least like once a month, you know, I just broke out of a relationship and I'm getting into ALC, and then next thing I know, this person has blossomed, they have all these new friends, they have such an amazing cause to ride for. So ALC is an amazing organization. Hopefully Seal will talk a little bit about that. I'm excited. And of course, the Midnight Mission, right? Which, you know, a lot of us have heard about them, but not many of us have been involved with them, myself included. I've been here for 14 years at the shop. My dad's been here since the late 70s. And truth is, I mean, we live in our normal lives. We go, you know, to and from work. A lot of us have cubicles or whatever it is, and we just kind of like do our thing, and it's easy to just not see any of it, right? But not all of us are as lucky, right? Not all of us have a warm meal at the end of the day. Not all of us have a place to sleep at the end of the night, right? And knowing that even if you choose not to have that meal, just knowing that they're there is such an important part of any community, right? Especially one as big as LA with as much homelessness that we have. So I'm going to let them obviously talk about a little bit about that, and Andrew talk about that, but I'm just so glad to be here. 14 years in downtown.
It's a good start.
Great program. Our goal is to help the individual get off the streets, get, you know, settle down, and then we slowly, one by one, start trying to find out what got them on the streets. And we call those barriers, anything that holds them from moving forward in their lives. And so we want to make sure that we slowly, or that we remove those barriers one by one and get them to become self-sufficient. And getting them off the streets, meeting their basic necessities, and then helping them find a way to be able to apply for a job or continue, you know, complete their education. So a lot of people don't have their GED certificates or a high school diploma, so we help them with that and we pay for it. And then, you know, from there, saving money, learning how to save money. Every resident that we have there has to save 70% of their income, any income, into a private account that the Midnight Mission will hold for you. And we give you your money at the end of your stay there, so that way you're not spending that money foolishly, and you can walk out with at least $10,000 to $15,000 to get you started.
My government name is Celia, if you ever get an email. It's so formal. I work for AIDS Lifecycle. This is my 4th, 5th season. They run together. But AIDS Lifecycle is a 545-mile bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles. It happens every year. It's 7 days, and it's a fundraiser for the Los Angeles LGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. So it's been going on since 1994. And it's the best week of the year. It happens the first full week of June every year. We take about 2,500 cyclists with us and 700 volunteers, and we're just a little traveling city down the coast of 3,000 people. And it really is kind of the definition of community. It's the best of people coming together, getting to spend time together, doing what they love, whether it's biking, whether it's being together. We have little communities that pop up within our greater community. One of our largest teams, our #1 fundraising team actually, the Trudging Buddies. Is, an incredible team of folks who are sober and supporting others who are in their sobriety journey, and just how remarkable that we can help each other in so many different facets.
Affordable, permanent or permanent supporting housing. And then our recovery program is all of that plus a 12-step approach. We feel that, for over 80 plus years, the AA or the recovery scene community has actually been helping out billions of people around the world. And so we wanted to bring it to the community here in Skid Row.
Yes, my name is Eli Akira Kaufman. And I'm sort of reminded about just the power of community, just listening to these stories. And so I'm just very grateful, Rodney, for you providing the space and for your support in the past to LACBC back in the day. And David for harassing me for the last 3 weeks. I just got off a plane last night from Toronto where I was at a shared micromobility conference, reimagining cities as truly shared spaces where the public right-of-way belongs to the people, not to the cars, and the biggest, most privileged people, but for the people who choose to walk and ride, because it's not only good for themselves, but it's good for the planet. It's good for the next generations that have yet, so they have a chance to thank us for what we're trying to do here. So Bike LA is a 501c3 nonprofit. We look at the public right of way as an opportunity to transform Los Angeles into a more livable city for everyone, by creating calmer streets that are more inclusive, that are more equitable, that are obviously more sustainable because we're not putting greenhouse gas emissions out into the air. We do this through advocacy. We go to Sacramento. We do a lot of policy work in the city with our council members, which has been a real trick in the last couple of years with all the corruption and craziness, but we still go to their offices and advocate for the people on bikes and on foot. As some among our most vulnerable people in the city. We also do this through education and programs at LAUSD schools where we help kids become liberated by bicycles by learning how to wrench or maintain their own bikes and find ways to get to school. Unfortunately, we don't have safe routes to school because our streets are not designed for anyone else besides cars. And so we work really hard with those kids to get them set up so they can ride safely and responsibly. And then the third way we do it is we organize rides. So we're organizing a ride on October 7th, which is a ride along the Sunset Corridor Boulevard. This is one of those existential gaps where there's not any slow streets on either side of Sunset. So people who need to walk or ride or transit have to travel either 3 miles north or 6 miles south to really go east-west. And this corridor, we are able to take this 3.2 miles and turn just a little bit of parking into a bi-directional class 4 bike lane, which means there's planters and people can ride in either direction without having to contend with cars. We hope that this is going to be like a proof of concept about what the streets of LA could be like. So October 7th, it's our annual fundraiser. It's my shameless plug. David said I could do this. So, David will be there. Yeah. But basically, you're going to be meeting Laura Friedman, who's one of our advocates, who's at the California State Assembly. A guy named Tafari Bain, who's one of the chief strategists at Ciclavia. Who's done Ciclavia at one of these open streets events? Yeah. So that's Tafari will be there, and then we're going to be honoring Sunset for All as a project that is a totally community grass-led movement to try to transform their street into a destination, not a car drive-through. And the last thing I'll say, and again, thanks David for giving me a chance, is, when people get on bikes, they become members of the communities they ride to, right? Because they're not in a hermetically sealed box, with the music going or the cell phone or the distraction. You are in your space, you are in your body, and you understand the quality of the road, the air quality that you're breathing. It makes you really present. And so, our thinking is if more people got on bikes and got connected to their bodies and to the communities that they travel through, it would be a gentler, more inclusive, more friendlier, healthier place for all to live. And so that's our mission. And if any of this resonates with you, check us out. We're called Bike LA, and we're having a party at Highland Park Brewery 2 weeks on
You have a few
Saturday.
tickets left, right? So we've
Yeah, tickets are selling out. It's only $25. The cool bandanas, new ones this year.
Yeah.
But really just a lot of bike-minded people coming together from all walks of life saying, we can get around. It's a human right to have that kind of freedom to get where you want to go without fearing for your life. So thank you.